Hey everybody, if you're watching on the replay, please give me a thumbs up. 8 years ago today, I lost my brother, and I'd like to take a moment to just remember him because I know if my brother was alive, he'd be going all over St. Lucia telling everybody, you know my sister, Moneta Wilson, she doing yoga on YouTube. Watch it. Let me show you. Give me your phone. Watch it. So I miss my brother, and let's go back and look at his obituary and some other stuff.
The death is announced of Leevy Sherlon Montgomery Wilson of Passias, Monrepo, who passed away tragically on Tuesday, July 17, 2012 at approximately 5:30 p.m. He was 27 years old. He was a member of the Committee for Persons with Disabilities of Monrepo, Number 1 La Rose Group of Monrepo Cemetery Management Committee, the St. Anne's Catholic Youth Group, an altar boy of St. Anne's Parish, Monrepo. He was also a past employee of the Miku Village Council. Left to mourn his mother, Monica Wilson, his sister, Monetta Wilson, brothers, Alistair Wilson, Dwight Lewis, Ronald Daniel, grandparents, Martha Wilson, Augustus Ferdinand, nieces, Oliver Lewis of Antigua, Sophie, Alicia, and Charis Daniel, nephew, Darrell St. Clair, aunts, Mariana Wilson Smith, Wilbertha Wilson, Gregorina Wilson, Francilia Plummer, also his godmother, uncles, Matthew Wilson, Uriah James, James, Christopher, Curvin, godfather, Placid Noel, grand aunts, Tilly Wilson James, Anita Wilson, Vivian Wilson, Madeline James, grand uncles, Albert, Michael, Eric, and Gilius Wilson. Also left to mourn Lillian Goodman and family, the Wilson family, the Ferdinand family, the William family, the Shalry family, the Serio family, the Robertson family, the Alexander family, the Trim family, the Leos family, the Daniel family, the Burke family, the Joseph family, all of Pasias, Monrepo, Lapuette, and Migu, the Xavier, Ramine, D'Orleans, Peter, Vitalis, Lubin, Charles, and Descartes families, drivers of the 2H and 4B routes, employees of Super G and KFC, New Dock Road, VA4, Meakin North UWP constituency group, members of the St. Anne's Catholic Church, members of Faith Tabernacle, members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, members of the Morning Eastern Cooperative Credit Union, proprietors of Grand Moon Time, Karaoke, and Rosemedine Place, management and staff of Lazarus Funeral Home, Southern Taxi Association, his friends Alan Wide, other relatives, both here and abroad. The funeral arrangements of the late Levi Sholon Montgomery Wilson will be announced in a subsequent broadcast. The body now lies in St. Anne's Catholic Cemetery,
That's my brother. So that was, I want to share with you from from my Facebook. It was really sudden, y'all. If you saw my video on Wednesday, then you know what happened. So I went into my memories on Facebook, and my internet is slow, my laptop is tired. You have to go and look at you. So don't come and come here and make signs towards me. Okay, y'all. So I had it all queued up, but internet does what internet does best. So let's go back 8 years ago today. And just ignore my other memory. So here it is. You can see 8 years ago today. And let's see if it will let us even look at it. Let's see if we can go on there. Come on. Let's see, maybe I can share it. That's not. Sorry about that, y'all. I thought I could just click on it and then I could see it. So, anyway, that's the post. Here we go. Here we go. Now it's working. So, you can see I said, earlier today, my brother Leevy S.M. Wilson was killed by a stray bullet at Carnival. My family and I are grateful for your support in our time of need. And I made that public, and I closed my Facebook wall then. And I've never really gone back to Facebook how I was before because I just couldn't. So you can see all of the comments that we got. Um, and you can see this person here, Sylvina William. Her daughter cried so much because her daughter was maybe about 4 years old when my brother died, and she couldn't be consoled. Like you see her, she says, I know Chrissy will feel very sad and will miss Livy very much. She will miss shouting out his name and running to him no matter where she saw him. Like, he would just always be having like random people's children's on his arm up until about 5 minutes before he died. He was holding a baby, and this lady said, oh my god, here's Louis, we lost Louis a few years later. And somebody said he was holding her baby, and he'd just given her back the baby, and when she heard the gunshots she held the baby and ran. But when she looked for him, and then they said it was him, and she said no, but he was right next to me. So you can see that this is someone who knew us as a child, and she said, I didn't know him as an adult, but as far as I know, he never changed. I am truly saddened, and he was indeed a child of God, and today I will keep your family in my prayers. And this is my other friend. She lives in New York, and she said, I'm going to miss Livy greetings every time I come home. Last time I saw him, he was going to buy gas for an elderly man, he told me. So the gas comes in tanks here, and he used to go to the different elderly people and ask them during the day if they needed anything done. He definitely be missed everywhere as he touched people's lives all over. So you can see all the people, like it was so sudden, and everybody just didn't know what to do. Like, our house was full of people all day long. And you can see right before that, I was just, happy to be in Washington, D.C. just relaxing. And I just made all of these pictures. This is where I was the night before. Look at me. I'm watching a game in a stadium in Washington, D.C. Over my shoulder is where Barack Obama sat. And like if you look really, really closely, you'll see Barack Obama down there. And I mean, my life changed that day, or it changed completely. And you can see me sharing memories throughout the years. And there's a couple I wanted to share. Um, it's been a long road for me because he's only 2 years younger than me, and he had epilepsy and he was developmentally delayed. So I always looked out for him. Hey y'all, hey brown girl Bella, thanks for coming y'all. Let me. There's another thing I wanted to share. Come on. So this, yeah, I've been fighting racism for a while now on all my social media. So this is 2015. This is when I really started, posting again. And I said, one day we'll be together again and we'll play imaginary car again and you'll drive and I'll be the passenger forever in my heart. You know, so what we used to do is we used to sit on the chair, right? And you can't see it, but the chair had like kind of like poles on the side and you could stick your feet through it. So we used to pretend the chair was a car and he was always the driver and he would stick his feet through there, and I would sit in the back seat and he would drive and he would yell at people and honk the horn, and like, all he wanted was to drive, y'all, and he never got to drive. And we'd play car in the chair like that, the two of us, for hours and hours. You see, like the two of us, we were inseparable when we were younger. And then, of course, I went away to college in the university, and he was so proud of me. Like, my brother was so proud of me. When I was in high school, I came to his class, and there was a new teacher who hadn't been at the school while I was there. And when I came in, she's like, "Oh, you Levy's sister. He has been talking about you nonstop, nonstop. His sister who goes to Beaufort Company." And so, like, he was always just so proud of me. He told everybody about his sister. And I wish he was here right now because, y'all, I would have thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers because everybody knew him. He was friends with everybody. And there's one other memory I want to share, and it's this one from 4 years ago. And it says, come on. So here's the picture, y'all. This is us. This is my favorite dress, a white little summer dress that had strings. What just happened? Come on, Facebook. That's not what I want to see, Facebook. Okay, so my computer is not happy today. Is it going to let me stop? So, anyways, it just my brother just yeah, yeah. I mean, Brango Bella. It was just like, you know, it was literally the day the music stopped because it's never been seen since then. The celebration just stopped. The parade just ended. Like people say they were on the street and like people were just putting them on the back of trucks and saying, "Go home, go straight home, go home, go home right now." And and that's just they were just like go home, and they never ever saw the celebration just completely stop. It was like around, I don't know, sometime in the afternoon, and normally it goes into the night, and it just completely stopped. So it was such a shock, like such a shock, because I mean, you you don't expect something like that to happen. So like my brother was really friendly, and he was friends with everybody, and everybody knew him. He felt everybody was his friend. And like my first memory of my brother is one morning we woke up and he was in the hospital. I knew he was in the hospital, but I was maybe 3 years old. And I remember the night before that it was the following day was going to be a holiday. And my mom hadn't wanted to go to the hospital because like that was so if I was 3 years old, then it must have been 1986. And or it could have been late 85. I don't know. Anyway, and so like my grandmother was like she needs to go check on her son, and my mom was like the nurses take good care of him. So I remember we woke up, we had to wake up really early, and I woke up early and my mom got me ready, and the only pair of shoes I had to wear were these like white church shoes, and they were slippery, so I had to hold my mom's hand really tight. And we went down really like crazy early, like 6 a.m. to get a bus to go to the hospital. And my mom had to pack my breakfast. And I remember the nurses took me to another room because I wasn't allowed to go on the ward where the other sick kids were. So I was in the nurses' room at a table, and I got to sit there and have my breakfast. And I don't know what else I did. And when my mom was ready to go, she came and got me and let me see my brother. And he was in a crib, and he'd fallen, like he was standing on the crib, and he'd had an epileptic seizure, and he bust his chin open. So now his chin was stitched up, and they'd wrapped padding all around his crib because he was having the seizures and just falling. So my mom let me see him, but I wasn't allowed to touch anything. And then we had to go home. She wanted to leave early. And so we went, and there were no buses, so we started walking. And we walked 2 to 3 miles, my mom and I walked to get to like another road. And by the time we got there, it was dark. And we got to a friend's house, and we would possibly sleep there. And I remember she gave me dinner, and then I don't remember what, but we ended up not sleeping there, and we ended up getting a ride home. And that's my first memory of my brother, was of him being sick. And all of our childhood I had to be looking out for him because like when he had a seizure, people would freak out, and I'd have to be like, stop, okay, we have to cool him down, bring the fever down, put him on his side. I was 4 years old, and I was the one like a glass cabinet one time and cut open the bottle. So I was always looking out for him. He didn't talk for a while. That's the post. Let me see what's going on. Okay, let's go back. Come on. So it's just the internet's just being really slow. So let's stop sharing the screen for now, and then I want to show you um, the other video in the playlist. And it's just the thank yous because my family was so extra, y'all, about all this because everyone loved my brother, and it was such a shock to everyone. Um, so my family was so extra. So in St. Lucia, we have obituaries on the TV. So I think my brother had his obituary, and he had the thank you message, and he had come on, and he had the life in memories. So yeah, so here's his thank you message. If it will play. Huh? No, I was older than him. Okay, also apparently it's buffering. I don't know why it's been so difficult today.
The family of the
My brother used to stutter.
Leevy
So it's
Wilson is thankful for so much. We are
um this stream is being difficult. Okay, here we go.
thankful to God for giving us the strength in this difficult time.
I'm sorry about that, y'all. The internet just doesn't want to let me do what I want to do. So, yeah, I closed out those windows. Hopefully, it will let me share that with y'all again soon. But I just wanted to continue to talk about my brother. Um, so yeah, so he didn't speak until when he was 9 months old. He started having the epileptic seizures, and because his fevers would go so high um, during the seizures, his brain um, kind of didn't develop properly to protect it. So he didn't speak until he was 3 years old. And when he did speak, he stuttered. He also like couldn't measure his strength. So he would think he was just giving you a pat, but he would hit you so hard. And he was always by my side, and he was always so super supportive of me. And then as he grew older, he liked to sing, and he liked to sing, and he liked to go to karaoke. He would travel all over the island, singing karaoke songs. He had like some country songs that he sang, but like his biggest song that he sang was "Knocking on Heaven's Door," and oh my God, "One Love" by Bob Marley. And when he would sing "Knocking on Heaven's Door," he would say like everybody names. He would say all the ladies' names. Like, let's say he was in the chat, he'd be like, "Knocking on Tina's door, knock knock, knocking on Tina's door," and then he'd be like, "Knock knock, knocking on Brown Girl Bella's door," and everybody just really enjoyed spending time with him because he was such a ball of life. So I was hoping more people would come, to tell stories about him and stuff. And one of the cool things about my brother is, I'm gonna be a little rambly, but one of the cool things about my brother is he never thought that there was something that he couldn't do. Like, we were raised Seventh day Adventist. He wanted to go to Catholic church, he went to Catholic church. He wanted to be an altar boy, he became an altar boy. um, he wanted to go to Pentecostal church. He went to Pentecostal church. A weekend before he died, he went to Adventist church on Saturday, Catholic church on Sunday, and Pentecostal church on Sunday. And he was trying to go to one of his classmates' wedding, but he couldn't get a ride. And you know what he would do? He would just like show up at people's weddings. He was like a wedding crasher, hardcore. But he would totally steal the show. Like, they didn't have to invite him. He'd be like, "My friend's getting married, I'm going." And he would go. And the last wedding he went to, the lady's like, "Yeah, he just showed up." And no one wanted to give a speech. And he just stood up and he just gave a speech at my wedding. And it was the best speech of the night. And I was just like, you know, that's my brother. But he was so stubborn, y'all. So stubborn. Like, he thought like everything belonged to him. So if you had something and he wanted it, he'd just take it. And it was so frustrating. But I mean, it wasn't always just good. But he liked, like, all the kids and all the old people like him. Like, you guys see Faye Austin in the chat. She was 2 when he died, and that was her pal. Like, Faye, you there? You want to tell us how you feel? Um, but what would happen was Faye didn't really like people when she was a baby. She did not let anyone hold her, and when she saw Levi, she would just be at his side because that was her buddy. So from when she was like a really tiny baby, he would just come pick her up and they would go for walks. And that's what they did. They went for walks. And so that was her buddy. I remember we were at a cousin's 50th birthday party, and everyone kept trying to play with Faye or hold her, and she wouldn't. And when he showed up, she was at his side for the rest of the night. Um, oh my gosh, I wish. Let me see if Facebook will let me pull up the pictures again. And if Facebook lets me pull up the pictures, I could be able to show it to you, because that was my plan, was to show you the pictures from Facebook and to just talk about the different memories. Yes. So Faye was on his arm the entire night, and people were asking like, but I thought she didn't want anyone to hold. I'm like, y'all don't know. That's the people's buddies, okay? They go for walks together, and she was unhappy. She was maybe like a year old, and she was like, did not want to be in that party, did not want to be around all these people. And as soon as he came and he held her, she calmed down and she was fine for the rest of the night. And she was just on his arm side eyeing people. Um oh my gosh, y'all. So let me tell you about my favorite thing. My favorite thing in the whole world was to write sermons for my brother, y'all. So we were part of a group called Master Guides. It's like Scouts. It's co-ed and it's in the Adventist church. And so I remember I wrote a sermon for him. And in all his stuttering, he had a powerful voice. And so we went there. And have you ever like been like listen to someone speak and everybody is just on their feet? So I wrote the sermon for him. We went over it. It was like a 5 minute sermon, because it was like a jamboree, and there were all these different things, and I think you get points. I don't remember. It was a long time ago, y'all. I was 16. And so I wrote him the sermon. Maybe I was 18. Not that that's a big of a difference. So I wrote him the sermon, right? And we practiced the sermon, and I made him do hand movements, and I made him learn the sermon by heart. And he went with his uniform and he was holding his Bible, and it was like a camping jamboree, and we were outdoors. And like when my brother went up, people were like, I thought he wasn't normal, because remember my brother is developmentally delayed and he stuttered, and they were like, this is who y'all are sending to preach. And I remember my friend Danny was there, and he said, give him a chance. He wants to do it. How many young people do not want to preach? And y'all, I was just like, y'all underestimating my brother. Y'all don't know. Because I always told people, my brother is way more intelligent than I am. Like, people think I'm the smart one because I have all the education. His brain works differently, but he's smarter than all of us. And y'all, when my brother started talking, everybody was on their feet. I don't remember where exactly, but there was a line in the sermon that said higher and higher, and I told him when he does that to lift up his arm towards the sky. Yo, my brother was in the spirit. When my brother said higher and higher, my brother jumped off the ground twice. Everybody else jumped off the ground. People were like, when he was done, people were cheering. We were like, that's the best sermon they ever heard. And I remember just before my brother died, I was praying and praying to God, because all I ever wanted, like, was to write sermons for my brother again, and for him to preach again. Like, I just felt like we were the dynamic duo, and we could take over the world. But that's not what happened. like after we came back from the jamboree, he did the sermon in church, and let me tell you, like, I don't know if when you go to church, like people kind of wait outside during the service and stuff. When my brother started preaching, the church became packed. Everybody that was outside running sick did not want to miss it. When it was done, people were disappointed because, yo, when my brother opened his mouth, it was like thunder, but beautiful thunder. Speaking of thunder, tomorrow I have like a rainstorm video coming up for y'all. So they're just, but then like when my brother died, like all the stories that were coming out about him and everything just made me realize that, the most powerful sermon you tell is the sermon of your life. And in his 27 years on this earth, my brother touched so many people. He touched so many people, like all these little kids, he would help their parents out. All these older people, he would make sure to check on them. And through his life, like a lot of people, their faith in God was renewed, their faith in themselves, because they could see that even with all his disabilities and his limitations, nothing stopped my brother from being like the best that he could be. Anything he wanted to do, any dream he had, he went after it. Y'all know my brother was training to go to the Special Olympics. They did not get the funds the first time, but they did not stop. They would go train to Special Olympics for soccer. I don't know if Special Olympics still does. Like I don't know the details of it. I just know him and his buddies would go train for Special Olympics so they could go play soccer at the Special Olympics. What am I doing? Well, I know what I'm doing. So um come on the internet. I thought, if I did this during the day, it would be better than at night. But y'all, I was wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Everything is just buffering. I want to try and at least make it to 1 p.m. I'm supposed to stay till 4 till 3. And I was gonna ask to raise funds because, my brother was in service a lot, and wanted to um I wanted to put a foundation in his name.